Hey, welcome. Today is June 18th, and we are in the Kubeflow community call. This is that's 2024 year. Get it together. And I want everybody to know that this call is being recorded and it is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. Today we have an agenda and we always start with the update from the release team. Let's see if I've got that agenda update here. Yes, we do. And I believe we have Ricardo is available.
Yes, I'm here, Josh.
Ricardo is here and he's been leading the way. So Ricardo, take it from here.
Thanks, Josh. Um, First of all, I'd like to bring out some quick updates of the release schedule. Um, we decided to bump the RC2 to June 25th, so next Monday. And because of this, another release date bump, we need also to bump the final release for July 22nd. That's the that's what we discussed yesterday on the release meeting. I got some other requests saying that July 22nd is also not a realistic deadline for final release. Um, we're always open to discuss that, but please don't forget to join the release team meeting to discuss what will be the more realistic date for having the final release for 1.9. As for now, let's keep keep working on having RC2 release as soon as possible because distributions are waiting on RC2 to run more tests, which includes the K-serve upgrade to 0.13. We have some effort to have the CVEs fixed in the K-serve models web app, some bug fixes in many working groups, including pipelines, manifests, and so on. I still need to figure out with the captain and training operator teams what's their status for another release candidate for their components, and the Kubeflow leads as well. Um, I started last week talking about the effort the release team started to publish on our social media about the highlights of the Kubeflow 1.9 release. Here's the document, a draft doc for what we plan to make this a blog post on Kubeflow website, and one slide deck that we want to share within the blog post, probably with also a video with everyone involved in the release. We welcome everyone to take a look, um, bring up some feedbacks, comments. We really appreciate every contributions on these materials. Of course, always good to say that we are also waiting on the working group leads to help us on the work. So please, working group leads, help us on bring the most detailed and realistic content about what's coming in for Kubeflow 9. I see some hand raised chains.
Yeah, just on that blog post, if we want to, because I did that class for the Linux Foundation, Evil Tux, I think they're being rebranded, but Evil Tux is that giant blog community through the Linux Foundation. They were asking for content. So if we want to potentially cross-post the 1.9 release blog into that community, let me know and I can start the conversation and maybe we can broadcast it a little bit farther.
Yeah, that looks like a good idea. Just need to figure out if there are any, I don't know, maybe issues with cross-posting multiple sources, but I believe you're the man who will help me answering those questions.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I don't have any objections to that. I think the most sources for releasing this blog post, the better. But yeah, let's keep working on the draft, adding more content, and then uh, we can later decide which sources we could blog post this.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So just to emphasize my first highlights in the release update, we are postponing RC2 to next Monday, June 25th, and we are planning to move the final release date to July 22nd, but we're open to discuss that, but we need you to join the next release meeting so we can discuss what will be the most realistic date for releasing 1.9 final. I think that's it. If anyone have any questions, comments, feel free to chime in. AJ?
Yeah, Ricardo. Not comments, just a request. If there are any other distribution owners in this meeting, so Ajay this side, I take care of the Nutanix distribution. We are facing some issue that is related to training operator. I already filed the issue, but it's not reproducible by the working group. So I just want to request other distribution owners to just test it once if they are able to produce it or not, and just let the working group know. I'll paste that issue in chat.
Yeah, thanks
Would you
AJ for
mind?
reporting that. Can I ask you to ping myself and Diego? We've been working on testing the Red Hat distribution of Kubeflow. We are curious to see how it looks like this.
Sure.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, if you want to reproduce it, maybe it makes sense to try on the manifest repository just the kind local cluster, because this is what we are testing against. If it's not reproducible there, it might be distribution specific.
Yeah, that's a good point. Alrighty. So that's it for the release updates. If you have any other questions or comments, you can ping me on the CNCF Slack channels. I'll be there waiting on you to answer all your questions, concerns, and have your voice being heard by the community. Thank you. Back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Ricardo, and great job organizing the community. I hope that the relationships and the learning that you've had are beneficial to you and your company. But I assume you've learned a lot as you've gone through this process, and you're in the home stretch. So let's go on to the main agenda. And it's back to Ricardo. GitHub enterprise account for Kubeflow.
Yeah, always me, Josh. Sorry. Okay. So I have a quick update on the topic I raised last week about the GitHub Enterprise account for Kubeflow. I got some updates on the support team from CNCF. It looks like it's simple to get the enterprise account, but they requested to get admin access on the Kubeflow GitHub org. So I need to understand what should we proceed on that. what's the flow? Do I need to raise a PR through internal ACLs to get this user admin access, or is there a better or quick way to do this? My understanding is that this is just temporary, just to get the CNCF support team set up or Kubeflow as the enterprise account. But yeah, just wanted to see with the community and the KSC what's the best way to proceed.
So the request is the CNCF team needs admin access to our GitHub account?
That's
that-
right. My understanding is that all they need is accessing the GitHub Kubeflow org and then enable the enterprise account to us. My understanding is that this is just temporary. I can ask him if needed, but anyways, I feel like I need to understand what's the procedure to give him admin access on the GitHub Kubeflow org.
I don't know if there are any other KFC members here. This seems logical to me. If we need to discuss it in the steering committee, fine, but this seems like a pretty, if we do want the enterprise account, which I think there are benefits to, right? The GitHub enterprise account for Kubeflow, I think there's benefits. People will like that. It'll make our life easier.
Yeah,
need-
definitely. I think the most important feature we could be benefit from the enterprise account is the hosted GitHub Actions, so we can scale our CI infra for testing much more PRs and running more accurate tests on the whole Kubeflow distribution. I'll leave Andrew to raise his comments.
Yeah, thank you for this, Ricardo. Really appreciate it. So I think like we have admin access for two persons from CNCF. Like would be nice if we can get an understanding like for like to whom we should give an admin access, because they already have an admin access. I'm talking about Linux Foundation GitHub account and I think Chris, or let me see, what is the name?
So let me
Yeah, it's Chris. Yeah.
post on. Okay, let me post on chat who is the CNCF member that's working on my ticket. Let me know if we can ask him to delegate this task to another user who's already admin on Kubeflow GitHub org. Otherwise, we can also discuss in the KSC meeting how to proceed on that.
Yep, let's do this.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one question which might be related. Since Ricardo created a PR to join the security and manifest meeting, are we supposed to already use the new Zoom bridge everywhere, or is this still in progress?
Yeah, I think ideally we should use the new Zoom bridge everywhere. We just use it right now for the Kubeflow community meeting, for Spark operator, and for notebooks working group.
Can I reach out to you then to get the Zoom bridge credentials, log in, and the stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I think like right now, I think Mighty owns this account, so we should discuss how to get access for other working group leads. But eventually, we should use a single Zoom account everywhere.
Okay.
If I may, Andre, thank you for that. And in case, also please count on me at the same time as Julius, please. Thank you. because for the model registry bi-weekly meeting, we are using still a Meet. I mean, it's open, so let's say it's not a big deal. But eventually, if we can migrate to the Zoom for the same bridge, it will be happy. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Josh, we need to discuss it, like maybe where we should, how we can delegate an access for working group leads, maybe on some of our calls in the future, maybe not right now.
Yeah, it's just giving them access through that 1Password and then training them up how to use 1Password, I think. Which you had no problem with, right? Andre, you didn't have any problems with 1Password.
Yeah, for me it works. It's more about how to configure Zoom accounts and how to, you know, like switch between accounts when you start a meeting. So it should be very straightforward.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get that done. Let's discuss it in the KSC or not, and let's get that done. I think that we've been giving access to all the working group leads and all the people that run meetings. I think it makes sense that these folks that are running meetings, we need to get them on to our Zoom account for the CNCF, and we need to relieve Matthew from those expenses. Okay, next topic on the Price is Right. I believe it's this one, broken links on the web CI.
We've been working a lot on the documentation for the upcoming release. And one of the things that has been slowed us down is broken links in pull requests. And I would like to discuss about adding some tool to our CI to check for broken links. We could add this for the entire website, which would require members from each working group to fix the broken links, or we could enable that per component, which I believe it's the easiest way. But we have to check for a tool that allows us to do that. So I would like to know if that's something that we would like to add. Any recommended tools? And I tried one plugin for Netlify, this check links plugin, and it seems to work. It's not perfect, but it can be a start. So I would like to know your opinions about this.
Well, my opinion is that broken links are bad. They're annoying, right? So if we can fix those, that's good. If we can do it in a way that's incremental, as you suggested, that sounds logical. I think probably doing it by working group, but I'll leave it for the working group leads and others to comment. Probably smaller chunks are better than, you know, a big overhaul. But I think that's directionally correct. What's the ramifications or any challenges if we run these tools? Are there any gotchas or anything that might happen that cause us any headaches besides fixing them?
No, I think it's
just view only. It's not going to cause any.
Sorry?
It's not going to cause any processing problems on the website or anything like that. It's just going to identify the broken links, basically.
Yeah.
And then does it automatically open an issue, or what does it do?
No, it prevents, it fails the CI. at least these two that I tried, it fails the CI. So we wouldn't be able to merge a PR that has broken links. That's why we need to fix the broken links before enable the tool.
Yeah, I think it's sorry, Ricardo, I see your hand as well. Thank you for this, Albert. I think this is amazing, and thank you for all of your work for the documentation updates. I think we've done this a couple of years ago, which is like, don't have enough bandwidth to actually contribute it back to the upstream. But like I think any tool that we can integrate to the CI would be extremely helpful to check the links. But like I think if you have some time to explore what tools, like if you have any tools which is maintainable by the community, we can easily adopt it. Like I'm super supportive for this. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, in addition to what Andrew said, if it's possible to use that same plugin to run locally, it would be great. Because from my understanding, this plugin will only check those broken links in the new contributions, not in the old ones. So if we already have a broken link today in the website, if there's a way to run this plugin through the entire website, then it would be great to already open those issues. I mean, website is our entry point for everything about the community. We should be careful with providing any broken links. So mitigating those broken links makes our the user's perspective that we are a healthier community. Not sure if that makes sense for you all, but anyways, let's not put much pressure on you, Albert, to check that, but if you could test to run this plugin locally, it would be great.
Yeah, I run it in a pull request that I left the link in the document. We can see the logs of that, and there are many broken links. We would have to fix them before. So yeah, I agree with you, Ricardo, that if we could run this locally, it would be better to fix these broken links before adding the tool. Does anyone know any other tools besides that one?
I haven't
No?
got a chance to explore it. I think even this will be sufficient. I mean, even if we cannot, run this locally, from my point of view, we should just add this in our CI/CD. That will be extremely helpful, I think.
Okay. My second topic is about the reviewer role. I was looking into our community documentation, and I would like to know that if we're actually using it, because in a quick look, I couldn't find any owners file with reviewer set.
Yes, we should use it, and we recently used it in a Spark operator repo. Reviewers, like we have some docs, which some of them might be outdated, but reviewers is the like the thing how we can reward people and get them promoted. So usually the flow looks like this, right? You kind of like have a new contributor which starts to do some contribution to the community. So we slowly add them to the Kubeflow GitHub org. And then like when we see more contribution from this person, like we add them to the reviewers, and eventually we will add them to the approvers. And at the end, we should add them to the working group leads and the co-chairs. So the like the good owners files usually contains more reviewers and approvers. Unfortunately, not like all the working groups follow this practice, which we should eventually fix. And all of the working groups should maintain the more reviewers and approvers. So that will be ideal. And I think like I can link some of the docs that we have right now. But like if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer on this topic.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all from my side.
Yeah, I know. So I know that especially, so this question is especially for the new projects like Model Registry or like other folks who just joined, like, recently the community. So how do you feel this process about like adding new people to the reviewers first and then eventually to the approvers if they see the substantial contribution or maybe for like half a year from this person? Do you have any questions or maybe any suggestions? Do you like or don't like this process?
I think that it's the right process to adding little by little people to more to higher roles.
All right. Yeah, I just had like the section here to review. But like if you see some improvements that we should do it, like please update this web page about the contributing to the Kubeflow ecosystem.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay, do we want to go to the Google Summer of Code introduction?
Yeah, maybe we can do it quick. So I think like last time we introduced several members from our GSOC students this year. So I think we have a few more folks here on the call who just want to introduce themselves to the community. I just want to say hello.
Hello, I'm Shawan. Sorry for missing the last meeting, so I decided to introduce myself in this meeting. I'm a student from Shanghai Jiao Tong University. I'm a senior year student, and I major in software engineering, and I'm going to pursue my master degree at Shanghai Jiao Tong University too. And I love areas concerning about Kubernetes and AI. So I decided to join Kubeflow to contribute to what I love. Yeah, and I'm a GSOC student too. And my project is the push-based metrics collection for Khatib, and I decided to implement a push-based metric collection for Khatib in this summer. And I'm looking forward to work with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shawn. Nice to see you here. Sandipan, I hear you want to also introduce yourself to the community.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, my name is Sundipan Panda. I'm from India. I am a member of the Kubernetes SIG contributor experience and contributor comes for some time now. And apart from that, I'm also a CNCF ambassador. And I joined the Kubeflow project due to my interest in MLOps. And I am excited to work this GSOC term on integrating JAX with Kubeflow training operator. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Excited to contribute to Kubeflow.
Thank you, Sandipan. Thanks for joining this call. Yeah, thank you for introduction. Any questions maybe from you, Josh? Then you want to ask the students that what they were working on?
Yeah, when's their first PR coming in? That's what I want to know. Come on.
I think we've done.
What's going on? Do either one of you have you guys started to work on any one of the issues, or do you have any just initial comments about coming into the community? Like, we've been working on the docs, for example. Have you been able to read any of the docs, or any problems there that you might want to just highlight for us? Put them on the spot. Come on.
Yes, I have created the JAX integration proposal and the tracking issue, but not much code contributions from my side up till now. I am working on it still.
Great. So you're going to be working on the JAX training operator.
Yeah, I have also create a proposal for my, and I also I've converted it to PR in the Kati project, and it's going to be merged to the project. And I'm happy to work in the Kati and implement a new way of matrix collection.
That's great. I mean, I think that one of the most important things that we do is being able to collect and present those metrics in a way that help people fine tune, improve, debug their models. So very important, the work that you're doing there. Good.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
Great. Well, let's keep an open door here and make sure that you check back frequently. We always like participation from people that are especially new, that can give us fresh eyes, you know, a new perspective, a first time perspective to either our process or our documentation and how we can improve it. We always know we can improve, and we always are looking for people that can bring up those items and potentially help us to make it easier for the next person that comes through.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
just wanted like one thing on this side. Just a reminder, it will be soon like it will be like the midterm evaluation soon. So just for everyone else like who like working on the GSOC this year, I would suggest you to provide the feedback for your mentor, and you know, just move forward with the things that you need to do to like, you know, to tell a mentor how to do like the appropriate, you know, evaluation, specifically like if you work on something, if you have any blockers or questions, so reach out to your mentors to get help. But I think we're on track. So like I can give an update for training operator and like a T project. We have like 5 proposals. We almost like finished with the review of all of them, and like converting them to the code should be very simple. After like we have a clear, you know, steps what we need to do. So looking forward to see how, you know, we can integrate this in the next release and release all these exciting features. All right.
All right, sounds good. Slack update. Looks like we've got some aggressive dates coming up here that people should be aware of, right, Andre? I mean, we're making progress. We're riding 2 horses. We really need to get into 1 horse. What's the update here?
Yeah, Johan, I think he wasn't able to join this call, but yes, we just like want to remind everyone that this old Slack channel should be archived. We decided to archive the general channel in 2 months, which is August 5th. The component-specific channels like training operator, KT, pipelines, KServe notebooks will be archived on July 19th, and all the channels will archive on July 5th, which is in 2 weeks. We want to have this aggressive timeline to make sure people will get their answers as soon as they can, as soon as the contributors can, you know, answer these questions. And one of the most important feedback that I got from people who use Kubeflow for a while, that sometimes they don't really receive an answers from the community, and I really hope with these new channels we can have more you know, discussion and with our users and with our contributors. So our goal is to maintain one place where people can reach out to us and continue conversation about their problems and suggestions. Yeah, I will probably yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying we could consider putting a warning message that pops up when anyone types a message on the Slack, you know, like I did for the GSOC.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Like, I don't know when you would want to do that though. So like it should just like any message at all. We could just literally make it respond to every single message saying, please move to the new Slack. Because it will also pop up in people's direct messages.
We can sort of do this. So do you want to like, you know, can we do this message to pop up in their direct messages, not in the...
I don't know. Maybe. I'd have to check. In any case, that's, yeah. Do we want to leave the general channel for that purpose and just have it spam you if you try and type in there?
You mean like activate this bot only in general channel?
Like what I'm saying is leave the general channel, but it won't be useful because it would just the bot will always respond to every single message with you can't use this server.
Yeah, so I mean, so let me maybe ask, Johan and other folks and like what we want to do there. But I think it's a good idea. I mean, like like once we start the migration, I saw only one message in the general channel, maybe two. So I don't expect a lot of spam. Yeah, only one message after my announcement on June 14th.
But what I mean is like, let's say 6 months from now, a year from now, when there's still 11,000 people on the server, right? It's just like they don't know that it's closed, you know?
No, but I mean, we will archive the general channel. We will only leave the announcement channel.
Sure, but eventually the announcement will also be, after 90 days, be not visible, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, I mean, I mean, that is obvious. I mean, we can, like we can decide if we, if we want to do like a couple of announcements during like, FY25, maybe, every 90 days to
We can
remind
make a
everyone.
bot do it. We could just make a bot do it.
Yeah, that's right. But I think it is separate, right? Like how we can communicate with folks in the Kubeflow Slack channel.
Anyway, yeah, that's fine. We don't want to waste too much time. We can figure it out then.
All right.
I just wanted to say, I think the messages, the replies from the bots are only visible by the message sender. So I don't think they're going to spam the channel, just your own history. At least this was the case when we had this GSOC mentor warning.
And I saw everyone else's messages. Maybe the admins can see it too. I don't know. I have to see.
Yeah, this could be the case because it usually said this message is only visible to you or something like that.
Anyway, we can figure it out.
Is the greater concern here just that we'll lose members from the Slack channel? Is that your concern?
Well, it's more like I think getting messaging out is always hard, right? So no matter how long we wait, there's 11,000 people there, and over the next 5 years, 6 years, people are still going to be in the server and wondering, what do I do? You know what I mean?
True, but I think this is also, I mean, this is just like end users, right? Eventually they have to put the effort in. So we can make all the announcements. I think this will be a good way for us to really understand all the active of those 11,000. As well as, we'll make sure that we can post on our blog and the CNCF or whatever we need to do to socialize, hey, this is the new Slack channel. So hopefully it's only a quick search away for them to get back up and running.
I definitely think the direct message thing is useful because almost all the activity on the server is in direct messages. But I mean, maybe we should just leave it to not spam people in there because they might want to continue using the direct messages that they already have. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Anyway, I think we can probably move on.
Okay, repo split.
Yeah, I think like, so my only question is what we should do next. I saw like the message from you, Matthew, that we need to wait until the release will be there to create a new repo.
Well, no, not to create the new repo, to migrate. We should create it before then.
Yeah, that's right. But why we cannot migrate the repo until we do the 1.9 release, right?
Well, if you think about it, it would be quite hard to do for a number of reasons. Like we're going to need to do a 1.9 release. It isn't even out yet. So it's problematic if the code in master isn't the code in the release branch. And also, the whole release process is set up around the Kubeflow repo. You know what I mean?
That's right. I mean, but like we stop contributing new features, right? Like because you're already in RC stage. When you do the 1.9 release, you can, you can move the code directly to the new Kubeflow dashboard repo. And then, like you can only, for some time you probably do need to do some bug fixes, but I don't like,
that's what I mean. Like the bug fix one is the problem, right? Like that, I think we can assume that we'll only end up doing 1 or 2 patch releases, but like I don't think it's that big of a deal to wait like 3 months to do it. You know what I mean? Like we're pretty much, we've got the process ready to do. It's just,
so
not for dashboard though, because we don't have the dashboard repo.
Yeah, sorry. I think like we discussed 3 months ago that we're planning to, remove the access from the Kubeflow and, remove everything from this repo, like in the middle of summer.
I mean,
So-
you can. I mean that if you do that, it's just gonna stop people being able to contribute. But like,
No, but folks can easily contribute to the Kubeflow dashboard repo, right? Or
well,
Kubeflow
yeah,
notebook.
once it exists.
Yeah, but okay, Ricardo, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just want to emphasize that you talked about adding new features. I just wanted to say that feature freeze is already over, so please don't give me don't let's just rephrase that. We're still working on bug fixes, not adding any other features now for Kubeflow 9.
I think you actually misheard. I think that's what Andre was saying.
No, I think I heard him talking about any features. Sorry. Okay.
By the way, there
I-
is known bugs that we do need to cut a new RC for.
No, it should cut releases only for
No,
bug
RC.
fixes.
No,
We're
no, no,
not
no.
adding
I think you're mishearing me.
features.
You're mishearing me. What I'm saying is there in 1.9 there are known bugs, one in RC0 for not for RC0 of the manifest, but for RC0 of Kubeflow notebooks and dashboard. So we do need to cut a new RC for that. That's a separate discussion.
Yeah, okay. It's just to make sure that we are in the same page here.
Also, Andre, I'd like to try and another thing I'd like to do before we merge all the code is migrate all the code, is to merge as many of the open PRs as I can. Because there's about 70 open PRs, maybe.
So, okay, I mean, I understand that probably you can do it alone. So the first thing, like to, identify people who can maintain this new repo, right?
Yes,
Like
and
for
we've
example-
got, and honestly, we actually have a lot of people. Like I've got 6 core maintainers now for notebooks and dashboard, which is myself, 3 people from Red Hat, the GSOC person is helping a lot, and also Kubernetes.
Yeah, I just like because I mean, I think from my point of view, if we do it fast, we probably will help, contributors and, users to start to use the correct repos to open their PRs or issues or anything else, right? I just don't want to, I mean, from my point of view, don't think we should wait another like half a year to migrate because more PRs will be created, more issues will be created, and more things needs to be
Anyway,
switched.
let's take this meeting, let's take this discussion into that issue thread. But like my
Okay.
comment, my response to your comment is yes, we're gonna do that. It's just let's do it on a sensible timeline so that we don't impact the 1.9 release and 1.9.1 patch
Yeah,
releases.
but 1.9 will be in 2 weeks, right?
Okay, sure, but like we still need to have the potential to make a patch release. And again, we've got 70 open PRs.
Okay, so we still need to find people who will be in owners files. So I know that Julius is willing to, help you to migrate dashboard and maintain dashboard repo. I mean, I think we need to agree with the people who can do this, right? At
I
least
think the
start to
people who
do
should be
this.
in owners should start out just as the current owners. And then any
Okay,
process to add a new owner is the same process as we currently use. It's like it's not any about anyone in particular. It's just like the process should be followed because otherwise you don't have any connection to the code base, right? If someone hasn't contributed to a particular piece before, it doesn't make sense to put them in the owners file because it's just gonna, if there is lots of PRs or anything else, it's just, this is every component as well. It's not just this component.
I think I say we move on and Wix write down all the like all your important. You've got a lot of really great like, hey, here's the considerations. Let's put those all down because right, like people can only
Yeah,
keep
they're
like
already
3
all
things.
documented. To be clear, everything's
Okay.
already documented in the issue. It's just this is just
Perfect.
this is a constant back and forth that I
Totally.
understand Andre's motivation here. I want to do the same thing. I want a separate repo. It's just,
Oh,
and he
totally.
wants it to happen, and that's great.
Totally. Sounds like a good maybe a separate call or a
I
PR.
just want to say, I mean, Marty, if you need people who can help you, you just need to, be, you just need to tell community about it, right? Like for the help, ask for the help, right? Because we just want to move
It's
this forward.
happening. If to be clear, I'll say it right now. If anyone's interested in contributing, please do. And if that eventually leads towards being in the owners file, that's great. But start by just contributing, to the components.
Yeah, but okay, never mind. I mean, I can leave my comments on the issue, but I just think we need to do it as fast as the community. If we want to make Kubeflow successful, it's especially before the next KubeCon, we need to do it as the whole group as fast as we can, like invest all of our time to do this migration, because this is very important from my point of view for the continuing growth of our project in the future. If you have any other, like, I mean, if you think that I'm wrong, please let me know in the issue, and maybe we should do some other prioritization. But I just think this is very important for us to move forward. But okay, we can move on. Just up to you.
Okay, start of outreach working group.
Yeah, so I think I discussed it several times before. We need to find people who can drive this outreach working group creation and the charter. I understand that probably right now, maybe someone from the community can drive it. Like maybe Chase, you can drive it, but like we need to find people who can start to draft the proposal, just the draft proposal PR with with the responsibilities. But the main idea is like we need to find people who can be responsible for all the marketing, outreach stuff, and help us to get the appropriate attention of the project. Like making the blog post, publishing, using the LinkedIn, using Twitter, using all the social media stuff, right? Right now we don't have this working group. We want to have this working group be official. We want to start hire people in this working group, right? We might have like a chef marketing officer, someone, the people who will have like the biggest responsibility. But we need to find other folks who can also help them to to delegate all these things, because there are so much work that needs to be done. So do we have anyone here on the call who would just volunteer to drive this working group creation?
To be clear, are we talking about a SIG or a working group? Because working groups have to own code.
I think we don't have the SIG. So working group of Kubeflow and working group of Kubernetes is a different thing, right? When we created this in 2019, the working group of Kubeflow is similar to SIGs of Kubernetes. I understand that probably so we don't have like the meaning of SIGs right now, the special interest group.
But we do have a requirement that every working group owns code.
Where do we have it? Can you?
It's just in the chat. It's just from the original governance docs that we did when we formed the working groups. Which I think it is a good idea to have a distinction between code owning groups and non-code owning groups. It does seem useful. I'd have to find it. Give me a second.
Is this outreach working group, is this separate from owning enablement? Who's going to own enablement, examples, all those?
When you say enablement, you mean for end user?
Right. Who's going to be, hey, I've got an issue. I necessarily don't want to go plug directly into the guy that wrote the source code, right? We want to say, hey, who's building the examples, who's showing the art of possible, who's kind of the friendly face, the initial kind of portal into the community that'll help users get started, as well as if someone wants to push examples, work with them, right? Like think of a core, like if you're running like a core technology company, right? You'd have someone that's just helping the super users versus direct to the source code.
I mean, it's kind of hard to know what that would look like just because the project is multiple projects. But that specific is.
But it seems valuable to, especially as we start to do conformance. Like conformance will help us understand kind of what's the core and what are the permutations of our project, right? There's many permutations of Kubernetes, but we still kind of understand the core support. And I'm sure the distros will have their own enablement, but how do we point someone towards kind of, our community support?
So this is kind of a really important point to make, that we should be cautious as a community of doing any official, not bug fixing support, in the same way that Kubernetes doesn't, integrate your Kubernetes for you.
Isn't a separate discussion? I think we're talking about something else right now. Right?
I think that's. I'm talking more get started, how to use things, right? Get users involved, because right now there's a high barrier to entry from an install, right? At least Kubernetes has kubeadm if you want to just get started.
But that's a separate project, right?
True.
And that's what our distributions are, right? Like, and since there'll be 100 different for that particular comment, I just don't want to redress it. Like, the success of Kubernetes is because there's so many options, partially, right? And so there's no official option for Kubernetes. There's the open source project. You could roll it yourself, sure, but most people aren't doing that. Most people are using K3D, K3S, KubeADM, like you're saying, KubeSpray, you know.
So are you saying it's not worth doing
Well,
outreach
no,
and enablement?
What I'm saying is, what will happen if we try and make an official one is you may actually salt the earth for the success of the project a little bit, just because other people would be disincentivized from providing their interpretation of how to use Kubeflow as a distribution or as a method.
And
So
I would
uh,
argue people are asking for, at least what we've seen, only what we've seen, and maybe we need to do a survey and gather some data, is people are saying, and I see this a lot with, you know, in the enterprise, when you're talking to customers as well, is sometimes you run into the curse of too much choice, right? They get decision fatigue. It seems like there's too many permutations. They want to know just how to get started quickly, and then they can decide what they need. And I think that that's something we can work towards. What is Kubeflow? We can't say it's everything. So if it's everything, it's nothing. So how does someone in their head categorize what Kubeflow is and how they can map it to their career as well as their projects?
okay, I think it's a separate discussion. I think like so, and this is our part to the charter. Matthew, I think like if we have this specific meaning in our governance doc, like we can always discuss if we want to change it. The main idea of this working group is not to, like, basically, I agree with you. This is like very important how we want to drive this, conversation, what we want to like promote. And we can, establish this in the charter clearly for the word outreach. But the point is here, like we need to find people who can dedicate their time to help us to do the LinkedIn posting, Twitter posting, YouTube posting, probably not like the posting, the recording, but some releases, documentation things, also the presentations about the new release of the overall platform, right? Also like speak about new features, like for example, fine-tuning support within training operator, right? Or maybe supporting, VLLM in Ksurf, right? So very specific, significant charters, like maybe Spark operator adoption within the project. So just to get this visibility for the broader community, I'm speaking about cloud native community, AI community, big data community, what's happening within Kubeflow as the organization, as the community, right? As the ecosystem, right? And we need to find people who can drive this. And we can work together with the charter to make it clear that this shouldn't be, like a distribution, advertisement, or like be very like vendor neutral, and just speak about the Kubeflow, right? Not about the distribution of Kubeflow, right? This is what I believe the people who can drive it, who want to drive it, can like outline in the charter, right? I think CNCF has this SIG, right? I think it's called. They have tag contributors as well. They have a lot of tags, right? Technical advisory group. We can learn a lot of like what CNCF is doing, and we need to apply this knowledge on the Kubeflow project. We just need someone.
No, CNCF is a org. Kubeflow is I mean, I agree that there's some similarity, but like it's a bit different.
I understand, but CNCF still, promoting some things was happening in their part, like in their projects, right? In Istio, or like in some other part of the CNCF or like projects, right? And they, very vendor neutral, right? They don't really, sell any distribution from their side. I mean, if you're talking about Kubernetes, right, for example.
My 2 cents here is I think I hear the salt the earth, but I think that's potentially aggressive here. I think we can try and see how this works and see how we want to do outreach. And as conformance comes in and more distros are added, maybe they do their own enablement, we can determine what this working group actually is, or if it still needs to exist. But it seems like right now there's a gap of bringing people into the community, giving them kind of, as elders into the community, friendly faces, tying them in, helping them get started. So I think maybe we just try it and see where it
So
goes.
Exactly, and just
what power do
yeah.
they have? Is my
So
sorry, Lee.
that is what we need to discuss, and we discussed this in steering committee several times, like what power like we want to give to the outreach. Maybe if we don't like working group, we can call it committee, like outreach committee or something else, and we can discuss the wording here. But
Andre, oh sorry, Andre, come on, Josh wanted to say something, I think.
yeah, just go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
I gotta go.
Okay, hand the meeting.
I'm leaving. I'll sign it to Andre.
Yep.
I know we had
done. Oh, no,
2 more minutes. So do we have anyone here on the call who can drive it, right? And we can guide you what exactly needs to be.
I think before you do that, you should just decide what the actual thing they're allowed to do is. Like, it's very, because allowing them to, let's say we allow them to speak as the project without approval, right? You know what I mean? Like, that could be the thing that they're allowed to do. If that means ability to publish blog posts and things like that, it does put them in a position which could easily be abused.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. I mean,
Yep.
So here's the thing, and here's actually where this conversation started, being fully transparent here. When this Linux Foundation approached me and said, hey, Chase, go build a class, right? I was like, how do I build a class as neutral as possible, pointing towards the project with the end goal of getting people to contribute, but not going against, like, the nightmare would be to say something that's against the Kubeflow charter or detrimental to the community, right? So how do you say, how do you ensure that what you build and what you present publicly, maybe even someone wanting to go to an MLOps meetup, aligns directly with the community if they're just speaking on behalf of Kubeflow? And how much jurisdiction do you need to ensure that, not even in a malicious way, just ensure that they're saying things that are correct and accurate as we go and spread the word of the project, right? So that's where the concept of maybe this working group makes sense, as in, how do we have community decks so that if anyone in the community is like, hey, I want to go do an MLOps meetup, I want to just hop in and talk Kubeflow, and we say, hey, here's the deck, here's the talk track. If you want to discuss with anyone, how to do it, if you want an example of how we've done it, go ahead. And we just really lower that barrier to entry to talk about the project in a way that is backed and accurate by the community, right? You're not stretching anything or potentially accidentally misrepresenting it.
Yes. So this is this is a lot of work that needs to be done. So like a lot of really hard work. I understand this. And this is what Amber started when we started discussion, like I think a couple of years ago. We just need to formalize some committee. And I agree with you in terms of the power, and we can think about how we can, find the people we can trust within the community who've been there for a long time. And how to, yeah, go ahead.
I don't even think you can, I think there are some positions of such trust that the only balance is actual, some actual balance. Like what I'm saying is, my thought process is the committee in this particular case shouldn't be formed unless it is representative of the commercial interests of the project.
So I have different opinion here, Matthew. I don't think this should be the commercial interest from the project who will represent this committee, because I think we should be vendor neutral here in terms of the value that we give for the ML community and cloud community. I agree that distribution is an important piece of the project, and this is how the project will find adoption. But we need to be focused on the specific value from the ML, what we actually do. What is the value for training we do? What the value for serving? What is the value of ML Kubeflow brings to the table, right? Not what distribution wants to get out of the Kubeflow, right?
This community could point to distributions. Oh, hey, these are where the distributions are. In fact, even when people talk to me about distributions, I say, well, go talk to here's the webpage, and if you need to go talk to the internal members, right, the maintainers, let me know, and maybe we can make an introduction. But I think that's the way to do it, because customers want a low barrier to entry without hitting commercial options. I mean, for anything, right? This is why a lot of even open core projects, they have the open sources. They want that low barrier to understand before they have a more commercial conversation, especially if you just want to contribute.
Yep. Yeah. The goal from my perspective, should be to speak about not about distribution, but about the value that we give to the end users, and then guide them to the specific, if they want to have the commercial support, we can always guide them to the distribution owners to get this support, right?
But part of the value is the whole platform, right?
But I mean,
part of the value is understanding so part of what this working group might do is understand what the customer is trying to do and say, here's the core project, right? And then if they need more, say, well, here's how you'd add the platform. And I think that's the thing is upstream of this working group is end users and contributors, maybe just trying to involve in the project. It's not going to be like direct organizations. I'm not going to be talking to like a lead of engineering and say, yeah, this is Kubeflow. You're just going to be helping people understand the shape of the project and actually reporting back what they, what feedback we get, what we need as we start to talk to these end users.
And I think for this, we also have it, or might soon have it on the installation page. Even if they go commercial, they can build up the knowledge themselves. They can use distributions. They get consultants. There are many ways to go commercial. But I also think it's not a good thing to go commercial first, since we are the open source project.
And sometimes sometimes commercial is the right thing, because like we cannot do everything inside the Kubeflow, right? Like for example, we're not going to support, I mean, we're not, for example, like owning the kube array, right?
Right.
We're kind of like installing the kube array, but we don't really provide a lot of support to like, fixing the kube array problems, because we are not like part of the core of the community, right? And but the distribution actually can give you like, can give you minimal support, or maybe some things which Kubeflow upstream doesn't have, right? Like for example, a pipelines problem with multi-tenancy today, unfortunately. Like this thing, or maybe integration with Redis, or integration with Cognito, or any other things which you don't have time to have it in upstream. And this is the value of distributions, right? Similar to how people go into EKS, right? Because they don't want to deploy, Kubernetes on the EC2 by themselves, right? They want to have directly support from AWS folks, right? There are a lot of pros of going through distributions, but the outreach working group should not take, should not be the main goal of explaining what is distributions, what they want to get, and other things, right? It's more about the value of the Kubeflow for MLOps, right?
The user can determine if they want to go a distribution, right? They can ask Outgreep, well, what if I have strict SLAs? And then they could say, well, hey, maybe reach out to a distribution. Here's the distribution list that's supported that are conformed by the community, and then put it in their hands, right? You're not going to be selling distributions. You're going to be selling the concept of a distribution.
I mean, in the same way that, like, I agree that having a marketing team is always nice. I just think that, as I say, anyone who can speak as the project, there needs to be strong checks.
What's your concern? What's the deeper concern here? Is your concern someone saying, just tell me, like, what's the deep concern? What's the nightmare scenario for this group?
The concern, and it's not me, because I'm not, like, I'm one person who happens to, yes, own a distribution, sure, but also, but that's not what I'm really concerned about. I'm more concerned that most recurring contributors to projects like this come through the commercial interests.
Okay.
And if there is no way to have diverse commercial interests, like it's worse if there ends up only being one. But like, let's say if there's no diverse commercial interest, there will be no contributors, right?
So your fear is the lack of competition and ecosystem will mean the lack of contributors, because people are obviously powered by their incentives.
Yeah, like the open source project isn't paying anyone.
True. So I think that actually, guys, is the first problem that we need to solve, and first conversation we need to have with anyone, is what's in it for you to use Kubeflow besides just you're kind of getting paid to contribute. Like, what's the value? What's the core? Why does Kubeflow exist? What's the core value of the project? Right? So that someone can decide why they want to use Kubeflow, and then, hey, based off that value, what does it take to actually run this and support this? And that's when a distribution or supporting an open source comes into play. But I think the what's in it for them is a huge conversation we need to have, and it should be beyond just someone's paying me to do it. Why is someone paying you to contribute to Kubeflow, right? Some like if you're talking to like an executive somewhere, it's not going to be, I just want to contribute to Kubeflow because it makes me feel good. There's going to be some outcome for contributing to Kubeflow, some value generated for contributing to Kubeflow, and that's what we need to socialize. What's the value of being part of Kubeflow?
And that is what I'm trying to socialize for the last, like, a year, when we're starting all these things around, the value of building blocks, right? And this is like, first of all, this is probably not true, Matthew, that all the contributions come from a commercial perspective.
I didn't say all.
I mean, even majority, this is not true. Because the majority of people right now coming from the people who are using the building blocks of Kubeflow in production, right? I mean, if you look to the reality right now, the folks from the Google team, folks from from my side, from Nutanix, from folks from, from other part of the projects, right? the majority right now is not from the distributions. And I agree that we need to, unless we're showing the real value of the building blocks, people who doesn't have a lot of, who don't have like, commercial interest probably won't contribute, right? We need to show this value of the building block.
Like, first off, a lot of the people you listed actually are distributions, but anyway, or who are selling Kubeflow in some way. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter if you're distribution or not, but selling Kubeflow, right? But anyway, but what is, like,
what's the point of buying Kubeflow?
Yeah, well, buying Kubeflow that's a separate, that's for each customer to figure out. But
well, I would argue that we need to be talking about that. Because besides, like, as we mature, it can't be a science experiment. You need to be able to talk to someone and say, this is the value of being part of Kubeflow, besides just having Kubeflow on your resume.
Well, like, look at the Kubernetes world, right? It doesn't have such a group, and yet it is as prolific as Linux. And it's because there's diversity in the community, both in its ways of being used and how it can be deployed, and also it has serious core contributors. And what I was trying to say is, Andre, while there are individuals like you and me who contribute, well, I'm more complicated now, but who contribute because they choose to do personally, recurring contributors, when I mean that, is not an individual. I mean like an FTE. You know what I mean? Like, so a full-time equivalent. Like a business says we are contributing 5 full-time people on Kubeflow. The people, if they leave the company, will still be there because we'll replace them.
Yeah, but then, in that case, we need to find, similar to Jupyter, we need to find an organization who are going to pay these full-time engineers who can be part of this, of this project. But I think like we're just not there yet. The problem is I feel how we can grow, like my personal perspective, if we really show the value of building blocks of Kubeflow right now, then we will grow the community around these projects, right? Then the people from large organizations will see the value of individual pieces, and then they understand like why they should invest their engineers to be part of this community, because they can use this product in production and get some value over their AI lifecycle or in their ML platforms, right? But this is this is a separate discussion completely, right? I just think right now in the short term, we can just start it and appropriately define the charter and discuss specifically what outreach should be done initially. If you have like some worry about like what exactly they're going to publish and how the review process will look like, we can discuss it somewhere. I don't feel we can do it right now. And I don't have energy myself by just
Right.
opening the charter and establish some guidelines there.
Well, let's continue the conversation. I don't think we need to answer this now,
All right.
but I also do I think what Wix is also saying is I think it's important that when someone contributes to Kubeflow, they see the benefit beyond their current org, right? I'm contributing to Kubeflow because if I go to another org, I can get a job running Kubeflow because it's valuable to that org. Kind of like right now, someone running, especially right now, right? If you run Kubernetes, you're running Kubernetes, and many, many, many organizations can benefit from Kubernetes, right? So that's why it makes sense to contribute and understand the project. It has global value versus just organization specific, right? It's not locked in, so to speak. But awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we're over time. So I think like if anyone here on the call who can drive it, let me know, and we can we can start some conversation about the naming and other things there. So I think that will be really helpful. All right. Thanks everyone. Thank you then. See you soon.
Thank you.